Hey, Leandra. So I'm going to give it a few minutes as always. I can see a few of you starting to join in, and then we'll get started as always. Nice to see you here. Happy New Year to everyone. I hope you're all well. I'm not gonna be saying hello to everyone because you're popping up far too fast at the moment. So all I would say is welcome to everyone that's going to join us tonight for the live, and Happy New Year to you all. Obviously, this is my first release for 2026. I can see lots of you starting to come in now, which is great. As I said, I'll give it a minute or so and then we'll start. I've got a few bits to show you tonight. So as I said, this is my first release for 2026. I have 3 stamp sets and 3 stencils to share with you tonight. Let's have a look. Yeah, you're all looking good. I can see everybody coming into the group, which is great. Now, I'm very aware, I've been made very aware that lots of you are interested in a particular programme tonight, certainly in the UK, that starts at 8 o'clock. I'm not going to promise that I'll be finished by then, but I'm gonna try my best. Maybe, maybe not. You know me and how I chat, so we'll see. So I hope we're all well. As I said, I've got 3 stamps and 3 stencils to share with you tonight. And I've got a few samples to share. As always, the way I like to do it, if you're just joining in, the way I like to do it is I like to go in, show you the stamp sets, show you the stencils, and then I will go on afterwards and show you all the samples that I've got. And the reason I do it that way is because very often it just means that when I'm making the samples, I don't have to stick to only using that stamp set for that sample or that stencil for that sample. I can mix and match as I go along. So if I've already shown you the stamps and stencils, I can explain to you in each sample what I've used, so that you can see how you can use them separately. Everything can be used separately, but it's nice to know that everything can be mixed and matched and used together as well if you want it to. So yeah, that's what iPlayers for. Yeah, I get that. So right, I think we are going to get started. I can see lots of you are coming in. I don't want to take up too much of your time. So I'm really excited about this one. I'm always excited. I'm excited for every release, but this one has pretty much got everything that I love when I'm doing a release, when I'm making stuff, you know. So it's nice. All I would say is do check out, we have lots of retailers joining us in the group tonight. PaperArtsy do not stock new releases on their site. Everything is stocked with your local retailer. So do check out the blog post for starters, because at the bottom of the blog post will have it will have the names of suppliers, stores that are in your relative countries. So, and what we also get them to do is in the feed below, while I'm doing my live, your local stockist will be putting links into the feed. So do have a look there, and they will say where they're from as well. So they'll say, hi, this is, I don't know, Everything Scrapbook and Stamps, and we are in Florida, or, you know, or I am the Artistic Stamper and I'm in the UK. So they will put in where they're from as well, so that you can see where a supplier may be. So do check that out. And also, as I said, check out the blog post. So the blog post went live half an hour ago. There will be links at the bottom of the blog post, which has got every supplier in every country. So do check that out as well. Okay, right, we're gonna go. Okay, so 3 stamps, 3 stencils this time. So first one, and as I said, everything that I love about a release is in this release. So I'm really excited about it. So the first stamp set is TS104. So TS104, we have a new large butterfly. Look at that. It's got it's got florals, it's got leaves, it's got petals, it's got gems, it's got a little bit of everything on there. So this is a new butterfly. So this butterfly is, let me grab a ruler just so you can see, it's quite a large size. It goes, so let's see, just over 4 3/4 inches across, and in height around the same, 4 3/4. So it's around 4 3/4 inches square, which is, I would say that's about 12, 13 centimetre squared for those that use centimetres. I know, we're in the hundreds, 104, stamp set 104 already. How did that happen? So stamp set 104, you've got the large butterflies, so it's kind of florals and foliage. You've got some extra foliage, you've got some extra small stamps that can be added to this, obviously, or they can be used on their own. And obviously I will show you how I use that when we get to the samples, because I've done a few different things with it, so I'll do that. So that is TS104. That is the large butterfly. As I said, around 4 3/4 inches by 4 3/4 inches. So it's a decent size to be using. You know me, I use a lot of my stamps in art journal projects, and I usually work on either an A3 size or a double, A4 size or a double, which is approximately A4. So they need to be a decent size to fill up the pages, okay? So my next one is TS105. So TS105, we have some new florals. Again, I absolutely love my florals. So you can see why these are, this release is going to be, you know, it's going to be a fave for me, because already we've got butterflies, we've already got florals. So, and these will go, so you've got the florals, we've got 3 different florals. These are all different to anything I've already got. We've also got the 2 extra petals. So there's 2 extra petals there, which can be used either to make these bigger, and I'll show you that when we get to the samples, or you've also got a couple of flower centres, so you can actually make individual flowers as well. And there's a little leaf as well. And I did make a flower out of this one as well. So, yes, so really, really good. And this flower matches with the smaller flower on this one. Okay, so it's similar, the same, the leaf. This is a larger leaf. This one's a smaller one, but they are the same. They're very, very similar. So that is TS105. So TS105 is the florals, okay? And then my last stamp set, which is TS106. TS106 is the doodled, it was actually designed to be doodled leaves. So it was designed to be doodled leaves. You'll see when it comes to the samples that I did so much more with it. I ended up using it for a bit of pattern play. I've done mandalas. You can use them as leaves, you can use them as flowers. So lots and lots you can do with these. And of course, the whole thinking behind this one in the first place was I have quite a few doodled flowers in my collection already, going back over, you know, the last however many years it is now, 7 years, I think. So I do have quite a lot of doodled flowers. And the idea was that because in my early days, I didn't ever draw any leaves to go with the flowers. So we've got lots of doodled flowers back in the day that haven't got any leaves to go with them. So I thought it was, the idea was, I thought it was about time to to create some doodled leaves. And then once I did it, actually realised that there's so much more that I can actually do with them. So, and obviously when we come to samples, I'll show you what I've done. And it might give you some ideas of other things that you can do as well. So that's TS 106. So we've got 104, 105 and 106. Now we're moving on to stencil. So the first one is PS 497. So 497 is the large butterfly. Again, I love a butterfly. There's great things about having butterflies on your pages. I love them. And of course they can be used for fairy wings, angel wings, you know, you name it. You can use them for that as well. It doesn't just have to be butterflies. And I've also, so what I've done is, this is a large stencil. This this butterfly is just under, I believe it is just under 6 inches wide. I think it's about 5 3/4 by 5 3/4, so it's actually a little bit bigger than the other one, okay, than the stamp. But I've also, because it is on a large stencil, it gives you the opportunity to have a little bit more, and I've done a little bit of a floral design as well, so obviously we can use that in a background as well, which is great. So we've got the butterfly and we've got the florals on one stencil. So that is PS 497. It certainly would. Yes, it certainly would, Catherine. So next one, PS 498. So PS 498 is the large heart. So we've got the large floral heart, because it is coming up to Valentine's. It is coming up to that time of year. So, you know, we need to, what better time to have a heart than when it's coming up to Valentine's. Okay, so this one. And we've also got, because again, it is a large stencil, we've got another floral border type design on the bottom. Obviously, the flowers do match the ones that are in the heart itself. Of course, it could be used separately, or you could use it together. It could be one or the other. It's up to you, completely up to you. So that is PS 498. And then the last one for this release is PS 499. So PS 499 is what I was calling the stained glass. Okay, so we've got a stained glass design. Now this one is perfect to be cut out. It's perfect perfect to be used as it is. I did notice that on one of Limperella's release samples the other day, it was used in the background. It looked fantastic. I will be sharing that sample picture at some point as well, because it's great. I love the way it was used. And what I've done is, like, so in the center of this, you will see there is a flower design in the center. It's not quite so obvious when you kind of look at it as a whole, but there is a flower design in the center, and that flower design has been replicated here so that you can layer it up. And also this is the same design but without the breaks in between. So obviously these can be used in a background. They can also be used to build this up as well. And you will, you know, when you do look, you will be able to see that design there in the center. It's not quite so obvious when you've got everything else going on and you're looking at it as a whole. And of course, you can use this where you don't use the center, just use the outer frame. You know, and you'll see one of my samples. So one of my samples, I've cut it apart so that I'm using the two, but I'm using them separately. So this one's going to be good as well. Ah, that was you, Leandra, with the sneaky peek. I did see it on there. I did see that it was using this stencil and it looked great. With the infusions, looked really, really good. So I will share that in my group at some point. I'll share that sample just to kind of reiterate some of the things that you can do. So that's PS 499. So just very, very quickly again, I'm just going to quickly go through them again, and then I'm going to start showing you the samples. So TS 104. So TS 104 is the sort of foliage floral butterfly with the little additions that can be layered up on top or used separately. So that's 104. Then we've got 105, so TS 105, and that is the various florals and additional petals. Also, bear in mind, this petal, because we are coming up to Valentine's, this one can be used as a heart for a heart background as well, because it is in the shape of a heart. So you could use this one as well. I haven't had a chance to do it yet. I really wanted to get a sample done where I did actually stamp this onto a background with the hearts, but I didn't get time to do it. But I wanted to say this can be a heart, okay, as well. So it doesn't have to be just used as a flower petal. Then, so TS 106. TS 106 is the doodled leaves, which are also can be used for pattern play, mandalas, flowers, etc., etc. And I'll show you that as we get to the samples. So stencils again, PS 497 is the large butterfly with the floral border at the bottom. PS 498, so 498 is the large floral heart. Again, this one is just under 6 inches, so it's about 5 3/4 by about 5 3/4, I think. So it's quite a big one. So it's going to fill up a lot of space. And then we've got the second floral border, which obviously can be used with this. It can be used separately in backgrounds. I've used it in the background on a page. And I'll show you that when we get to it. And then the last one again, PS 499. So 499 is the stained glass with the additional flowers. Again, can be used for cutting, can be used for backgrounds, etc., etc. So that is PS 499. Right, so moving on to samples. So I've got a couple of patterns that I've done. I've literally only got 3 patterns to show you. I kind of run out, I always run out of time. I have so many ideas bursting in my head and I end up running out of time. So first one, I'm going to show you these first and then I'll move on to the bigger samples. So just very quickly, just to give you an idea of a couple of the things that you can do. So in my little book, just using a couple of the stamps from the doodled leaf. So you can imagine something like this could be used in a colouring book to colour in. You could also use it tone on a background page. So very often people know I like to do black on black, so black stamping on a black background. Sometimes I'll do pink on a pink background, blue on a blue background. But something like this, obviously if you stamp some sort of pattern into your background tone on tone, it kind of sinks into, it's there but it sinks into the background. So it's always nice to have a play and just see what can I do with those stamps, which means that I can use them in different ways. Okay, so then this one, just very quick, as I said, I did these literally just before we went live, so I only had time to do 3. So this one I just picked again a couple of those leaf shapes, one of the flowers from the floral set, I put that on top. So you can imagine you could do this actually stamped onto a page. You could mask off this flower. I actually just stuck it on the top because I was trying to work really quick and I already had it cut out on my desk. But of course you could mask this off and stamp around it. It would make a really nice colouring in page. Really great for a colouring in page. Or obviously like a large flower. You know, this is approximately 8 inches across. So this is 8 inches in diameter. You could make this, cut it out. You could stamp it all out, cut it out. That is a huge flower, a huge focal point to put onto a page. Yeah, Dreamcatcher, Sally, fantastic. Yeah, dream catchers. You know, there's lots of things that you can do. But if you imagine this, you could keep going and going and going with this. But you could stamp this, as I have, cut it out. And that is a big, big, big flower, big focal point that you could put onto a page. Okay. And I've only got one more to show you. As I said, I literally did this while I was waiting to go live. So I just quickly kind of grabbed a couple of stamps just to to kind of play quickly. But what I really like to do is sit down, and I would recommend doing this, is sit down for an hour. Sit down for an hour just with a black ink pad. You can add a couple of coloured ink pads if you want, because they do look very different when you add coloured inks as well. But it does give you an idea of what your stamps can do, what you can do with them. And because I literally just use like a cheap composition book. This is cheap paper, you know, you can see through it. That's, you know, it's not great paper, but it's cheap. It's cheap. So if I don't like what I've done, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's cheap paper. And then I'll know when I go back through it that actually that didn't work. Because that didn't work, I won't do that again. Okay, so, and then this was the third one. So I just had a quick go. This was the flower centre from that other set. So you can see I've got a 6-petaled flower there. I've kind of come away, but again, I could fill in the gaps, use it as a colouring page, use it as a background, cut it out as a large flower, use it as a focal point. So lots and lots of things. It doesn't have to be just as it's kind of intended in the first place, if you like. So that was very, very quickly. The other thing that I did was I went into my, let me just grab, I just want to grab a bit of card because I don't want you to be distracted by the other pages. So then I went into, this is my colouring in journal. So I have a little, colouring in journal that I like to work in. And I like to put things in, okay? Now, I use my coloured pencils in this. I use coloured pencils. But sometimes I like to have things stamped up, ready to go. I'm going away soon. I'm going to be going away soon. And it's always nice when you go away to not have to take a ton of supplies. So I always find if I can have patterns or designs stamped up, ready to go, then I can literally just take a pencil case with some coloured pencils in it, take this little book, and then I can do some colouring when I've got time and I haven't got to have lots of supplies. I haven't got to be getting paint out, etc. So I have stamped up a few designs ready to go for my holidays. So I'm going to show you those first. Okay, so I just did this one, just a very simple, created a border, one of the flower stamps, and I have literally just stamped out a pattern. So that one is ready for me to sit down at some point and just start colouring in. Okay, so that is ready to go. So as I said, sometimes it's just nice, just have some stuff ready, stamp it out, have it ready to go. So this one as well, this is another one, just a pattern in my little colouring in journal, just using one of those doodled leaves, just one of them. And you can see I've got lots of options there for colouring. Okay, so it's just going to give me something. I can grab some pencils or grab some pens, whatever I've got available, and I can do a bit of colouring. But you can see, you know, just a simple pattern. This as well, something like this, gold embossed in a background, tone on tone stamping in a background. This is going to work really, really well. It's just going to look really nice. Even black stamping, so black stamped on a really nice coloured background would just look amazing. You know, really, and you wouldn't have to do anything else. That would be it. Your background would be done. Okay, so, you know, lots and lots of options. Let's see, what else did I get? I did do a couple more. This one. So again, this is just one stamp. Okay, so just one of those leaf stamps. I can't wait to colour this one in. This one's going to be great. Okay, so just another one. And like I said, this is on quite nice paper. So, and because it's on nice paper, it just works really well for colouring in. So, and it's contained. It's a small book. I can just take it away with me and I can colour in. But look how pretty. How pretty does that look? Just stamped out. It would look great in a background. It's going to look fantastic when it's coloured in. I can't wait to show you when it's coloured in. And then I'm going to show you this one because this one's a little bit different. I've kind of got this stamped out and I'll explain as I show it. So I've got this one stamped out, ready to colour. Okay, so this one. What a cool design. And this one is using, so I've got the flower stamps. So these are a couple of the flower stamps, but all of the foliage, which is around the edge of the page, is the butterfly stamp. Oh yes, Michelle, the Matins would work fantastic. Would work fantastic, because obviously the Matins, you don't have to worry about covering the black lines. So this, all of this foliage that I've got going on around the edge is the butterfly. It's the butterfly wings, but I've just used it as foliage instead. So you can use it, it doesn't have to be, you know, things don't have to be as they first appear. And I try to get this through all the time. They don't have to be as they first appear. So I'm really looking forward to colouring in this one. And I've got this little bit of open space. I might put some wording in there afterwards, but it's just going to look really cool. And you can see the butterfly just works really well with the flowers as well, just to use as foliage instead of using it as... instead of just using it as a butterfly, which is obviously what it was designed to be. So we've got those. Let's see. So the other thing I did very quickly, I'm kind of showing you the black and white samples first, and then I'll go on to the ones that I've coloured afterwards and that are in journal pages, etc. So this is in my planner. I've not coloured this yet. I do take my planner to most places with me, and I stamp this out. I've not got round to colouring it yet. But, so this again, if you look at this, this is the butterfly stamped out in my planner, stamped up as a mandala. Okay, so this one is sitting ready to colour in my planner. The planner has really nice paper as well, so it works really nicely for colour pencils and coloured pens. So that one's all stamped out, ready to go. I've not, as I said, I've not coloured it yet. I've not had time. Not had time trying to do all these for you. I'm looking, if you could actually see the state of the floor in here. As I said, I was working right up until, literally until we went live. So there's stuff everywhere. I've got nowhere to put anything. Okay, so let's show you, I'm going to show you the two little samples that I've got in here, because in this colouring book. So I did do 2 pages that I actually coloured in. So I'm going to show you those first, because then I can get rid of that book and it can be out of the way. Okay, so my first one I did was so this is the heart stencil, just the heart bit itself. So all I did was use it as a template. So I've used it as a template, and it really is this bright. Look at these colours. Look how fantastic. Because I know sometimes people think that pictures have been, you know, filtered, and yes, sometimes, you know, you might add a little border around or whatever, but look at those colours. Those colours are absolutely stunning. So this was done, this whole page was done with that stencil. So all I did was actually draw it in as a template. So I've just used it as a template. I'll probably put some sort of wording on it afterwards. I've not done that yet. But, you know, this is a large heart. You can use, of course, you can use it in the background. And I'm kind of thinking as well, I could use this. I could do 4 of these. So if you imagine 4 of these in a mandala shape on a larger sheet of cardstock, maybe on a 12 by 12 cardstock, because I think it's about 6 inches deep. So this would fit. I'm kind of thinking if I had a 12 by 12 cardstock, I could actually trace this out 4 times and have it 4 or 5, maybe 5, and have it as a really large mandala, and then maybe have something in the centre. This would work really well. So I love that one. And then the other one that I did in here that I've already coloured. So this one is with it's with the flower stamps. So this is the flower stamp set. And what I did, again, I've used, this is all Prismacolor pencils. So all pencils with this. and I masked and layered. So I literally just cut out my masks and then just stamped and layered all of the flowers onto the page and then sat and coloured in afterwards, but all Prismacolor pencils. And this is one of my mini stamps. I did have it here earlier, not sure where I put it. Oh, there we go. That is one of my mini stamps, which is this one, okay, which is TSM 24. That is the quote that I've used on there. So you can see, again, I've stamped them up, mask stamped, and got them ready to, that one I actually did get around to colouring in. But I've got some stuff now pre-stamped ready for me to colour when I'm away, which is great, which means I've got, you know, I can just take a pencil case with me and I'll be done. So let's see, what have we got next? Okay, so let's go with this one next, these two. So again, this is with both of these. Yeah, both of these are with 106. So that's the doodled leaves. So what I did was I have just created a few flowers with it because I wanted to show that you can make flowers with them as well. So I just did a few. I didn't do loads, but I did a few just to show. So this was one of the flower centers from the flower set from 105. Yeah, from 105. So this is the flower center from 105. And you can see this one, I've got the flower center. I've just made myself a stem and then used the doodled leaves. So you can imagine that's quite a large, this is quite large as well. So actually this would make a really good focal point just on a single page. It would, you know, you could have all this coloured in, it would be great. But you can see I've got other ones as well. So this one I just layered up a few different leaves. I just wanted to show that they could be mixed and matched together really. But the possibilities are endless. And if I'd have had more time, I would have done a lot more. But I give myself a certain amount of time to do each thing, each idea, because I have so many ideas and then, you know, otherwise I wouldn't get around to doing them. So this one, like 4-petal flower, and then this one is the larger shapes, 5-petal. These work really well as mandala shapes as well, as you can see. So a few nice little flowers. And as I said, this one, the flower with the stem and the doodled leaves as well. So you've got a doodled flower and doodled leaves. And obviously you could even have a couple. You could have a stem coming up the other way with a different flower on it. You could, you know, there's lots of variations. I think it's a little bit unlimited as to how many different ideas you could have, I guess. You've got, I mean, in that set itself, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you've got 8 different shapes in there anyway. So that's 8 flowers, just as they are, just using the one stamp for a flower. You would have 8 flowers. And if you then start mixing and matching and doing what I've done here and actually layering them up and just using, you know, a few different ones, actually you could start getting a lot more. So I do think with the 8 petals or 8 leaves, the possibilities are endless as to what you could come up with. So let's put that to one side. The other thing I did was I did do a large, and I had a ton cut out. I cut out a ton. I did this one today because I'd already cut out a ton of these leaves, and I had them sitting on my table today. So there was no way that they weren't going to get, put onto something. So this one, I mean, look how big that is. This is on a 12 by 12. This is a 12 by 12 sheet, okay? So, and this pretty much comes out to the edges. So this is pretty much 12 by 12. And you can imagine if this was coloured in as well. I do have a sample where I've done something similar, not quite this size. I've done something similar, and I have added a little bit of colour to it. So I'll show you that one in a minute. But we've got this. It's big, you know, it is big, and it's 3D. You can kind of see it really does kind of, it comes out. It's got, I've literally just used one of the flower centres. But this one has got, this flower has got every single one of those stamps. So it uses all 8 of those stamps. But if you imagine, so I've started this one off with a 5-petal flower. But if I started this with a 6-petal flower or with an 8-petal flower, it would look different again as you build it outwards. So, you know, it's going to look different depending on how you start off and which, you know, which centres you use or which doodled leaf that you use to start with, and you build it up from there. So that's that one. Let's put that to one side. My other, I say black and white, these ones are not black and white, these ones are red and white because I ran out of black cardstock. So I did, let's do this one. We'll do this one first. So this is the flower set. Yeah, so this is the flower set. And I have used a couple of stamps from the butterfly as well, but I wanted to show you some variations of what you could do, and I'll explain that. So as I said, this is the red and white because I ran out of black cardstock. So this one is just a little selection of different flowers. You can see I've got different butterflies. So this is the little heart petal. I've used that, I've done that twice, the heart petal twice. Let me move that in so you can see it. And I've used the centre of the butterfly, I've used the body of the butterfly and just cut that out to make a new butterfly. So now we've got something a little bit smaller. And again, the same with this one. I've used the other petal. So this is the other additional petal on the flower set. I've used that, and I've used the butterfly centre. So I've used the centre from him and then created my own little butterflies. So this is the flower from the flower set. This is one of the centres, and then behind it we've got that heart-shaped petal, which means, you know, I've only built that out one. I've gone out one around once, but you could go in, you could cut more and you could make this a lot bigger. So you could end up with a flower that's actually quite large just by using the additional petals. Okay, same here. So I've used the petals. You've got 5 of the heart petals. You can see there's 5 of the heart petals, one of the larger flowers in the set, and then this is the smaller matching flower from the butterfly set. The same, this is the large flower. So the large flower, when you stamp it out, the large flower, let me grab it so I can show you. When you stamp it out, obviously you can use it as it is, but you've also got, and I'm sure you can see because there's a bit of a shadow there, you've got this smaller flower in the centre, which means you get a 2-for-1. You've got a 2-for-1 there. You can have it with the large, which I've got here, and then I've added some other stamps over the top to layer up, but you can also just have it as the smaller flower with the centre. So that gives you something different. Okay, then we've got this one, which is just one. This is a flower centre from the, this is in the butterfly set, with the small leaf, and it makes another flower. So you can see I've literally just layered these up to create different looks. This, again, this is the other petal from the flower set. This is the small leaf from the flower set and one of the flower centres. What about a little flower bow? A little flower bow using it as well. So lots of different options, and I'm sure, again, I'm sure that I could come up with a lot more, and I'm sure you can come up with a lot more as well. I'm sure there'll be lots of stuff that you come up with if you sit down and start playing. And of course, all of these, I've done it like this, but I could mask and layer as well. I've done it, cut them out. I like to cut out. or I don't like to cut out. I like the look of when things have been cut out. So so I like to play like this. I can sit of an evening, cut all my shapes out, and then I can just sit with a box of cut out pieces, and then I can sit and play and see what I can come up with. So that is the flowers. And then my last one of these is with the butterfly set. So I wanted to show you a few different options, because it's very easy to think that the butterfly is the butterfly. I've already shown you, obviously, you can use the wings as foliage. You can certainly do that. But what else? Like, what else can you do? So I did this. Again, I just came up with a few ideas. Okay, so you can see this flower cluster that's going on in the corner here. This is a few of the wings. I think I used the wings. I think I stamped the butterfly twice, because don't forget, I'd used the butterfly body for the flower set, which meant I had just some wings sitting around with nothing else kind of happening, nothing going on with them. So it was like, right, well, what can I do with those? I can't just leave them. Let's see what we can do. So I've turned it into this flower cluster. So the large flower is obviously from the flower set. These small flowers are already on the wings, so you can see I've used 4 wings cut apart. And I cut all the, on these ones, I cut all the little swirls off and just used the foliage itself. And then these are little flowers that are on that set as well, and just layered them up. So we've got a little flower cluster going on. Okay. Then we've got, so you've got the little leaf stem going on in that set. And all I did was just cut out those small flowers and just made little flower stems from them. And then the other thing that I did, let's bring this in so you can see, I've cut the butterflies out differently to show you it's not just one butterfly. You might think it's one butterfly, it's not just one butterfly. If you start looking at your stamps in different ways, you'll see that you can use them in lots of different ways. So this one I have cut out, this is pretty much, this was cut out as a whole, so it was the whole butterfly. And then I've used the large, you can see here, I've used the large flower from the flower set, and then the smaller flower layered on top. And then I've also got in the centre here is the gem from that set as well. So you've got a real kind of 3D look. Then we've also got this one. So this one is a smaller butterfly. So just by cutting out or cutting away a lot of the other pieces, we've got this lovely small little butterfly, which would go really well with the other 2 small butterflies that we already made with the flower set. So that one's really cool. We've got a little butterfly, little baby one. And then again, I've added the little gem sitting on top. Then we come up, what have we got? We've got this one. So this is, again, this is the butterfly, but I've cut a lot of the stuff away. There's no, we haven't got any of the little swirls on there, but it makes it a slightly smaller size, but gives it a very different look. And again, I've got the 3D body because I've put the gem on, and I've also got the 3D flowers because I've stamped those from the set and then mounted them up on top. And then the last one on there is this one. So a little bit bigger than this one, a little bit smaller than this one, and kind of goes in between. Okay, so straight away, we've got, there's 4 different sizes there. We've got a large, we've got a mid-size, we've got a small, and we've got a tiny. So, and again, just by layering up different flowers, etc. So you can do more. And as we said, the flower cluster as well doesn't just have to be as a butterfly. Look at your stamps in different ways. Okay, so we've got 4 different sizes of butterfly on there. So the first of my coloured samples, I'm going to just grab this, hold on. grab that. Okay, the first of my coloured samples is this one. So again, this is just using the butterfly, and this is using it pretty much as it is, just coloured. So we've just coloured it in and added. So again, I've got the 3D gem, and I've got the 3D flowers as well. And I did curl these, so I did use my petal shaper to shape those. And I've done, so you'll see in the background to this, I've done an acrylic and alcohol background, and I will be demoing this on Tuesday. I'm going to demo the background technique. We're not going to make the whole thing, but I am going to do a quick demo on the alcohol background. Okay. There's lots of different ways that you can do it. I'm just going to show you one of the ways that you can do it. But this is obviously, this is a coloured sample, so that you can see how the butterfly looks when it is coloured in. And this is just using markers. You know, I've not done anything special. I want to do this with my coloured pencils because I just think it is going to be stunning with coloured pencils. You know, when I can really get some shadows and shading and things like that in there. But I mean, I've done this. This is a small page, so this is kind of A5. This is an A5 kind of size. But I could certainly expand on this and make this into a larger journal page. And I might do that. Sometimes I do a smaller piece and then I can expand on it later on. And I may well do that and change it into a larger page. So that is that one. Let's see. Okay, right, let's go with this one next. This is a coloured version of that flower mandala. So I did a coloured version. I had very often I have leftover backgrounds from demoing in classes, etc., etc., or leftover pieces. And I like to use them up. I like to use them in other things so that they're not, they're not just sitting around. So this one, I already had this background done. So this is the background is with older stencils. So it just goes to show that the older stuff still works with the new stuff as well. So this is my coloured version. So this is my art journal page. I need to put some wording on there. I haven't done that yet, but I had the background already done. I've used these as a border along. So I've used them as a border along the top and bottom, and then I've built a mandala. This is the centre of that large flower. I've cut that out, put that in the centre, use my petal shaper to get some rounded. So these are all very rounded. You can kind of see they're very rounded on the page. And just built it up, just added a little bit of colour. You can imagine, you could do this, rainbow colours. Start from the centre with maybe red and then work your way out. Red and then orange and then your yellow and then green and turquoise, etc., etc. And move it all out, move the colours out as you go. I think it would look fantastic. So that is that one. So that is a coloured version or a partially coloured version, but it works really well. And it just goes to show, so that is 8 inches across, just over 8 inches, 8¼ inches, I think it is. It fits the whole page. So 8¼ inches. Obviously, the black and white one was 12 by 12. And then you can do smaller sizes. Obviously, if you've got a smaller, the beauty of something like that is if you're working in a smaller book or a larger book, you can change up the size. You can just, you can build it up. You can play with it, play to your heart's content. So let's go with, I'm going to go with the mandala I did, and then I have 3 journal pages to show, and then we're done. I might actually get finished a little bit earlier than usual. Get me. So this is, I showed you the mandala that I'd stamped into my planner, waiting to colour. Well, I also stamped a very similar pattern, not exactly the same, but a very similar pattern onto some craft card, an A3 sheet of craft card, and use my coloured pencils to colour it in so you can see a coloured version. Okay, so this is my coloured mandala. using the butterfly stamp set and some of the flower stamp set as well. So I'm going to bring that in. And I would say, if I did not say to you, like if I didn't tell you that I had used the butterfly stamp in this, I don't think that you would even notice that it was there. I don't think you would even see it, that it was there. But if we kind of come in, if I bring it into you, can you see it there at the top? And then it's just the way that it's coloured. If we kind of come out, it doesn't even look, you wouldn't even notice that it is the butterfly. So, and I've used a mix, the butterfly, so you can see, like if you look here, these are the little tendrils that come down at the bottom, and they create a shape in themselves just by stamping them and joining them together. So that's my mandala. I thoroughly enjoyed doing that, and that is on an A3 sheet. So that is, let me have a look, I think it's about, I want to say it's about 11.5. Yeah, it's approximately 11.5 tall by about, I would say by about 13 wide. By about 13 wide, because I did it a little bit wider than I did sort of high. But yeah, so again, don't just look at the stamps for what they are. Look at what you can do with them. And as I said, that composition notebook idea is great for just playing around and just see what your stamps can do that they wouldn't do normally, or that you wouldn't think to do normally. So that is that one. Okay, I've got 3 journal pages. So 3 journal pages to show you, and then we'll be done. Get me. So my first one, let me show you this one first. So this is using the, and I'm hoping that I can get this in. So this is a double page. So this is using the stained glass stencil. So I've used the stained glass stencil in this. I've used the flower stamp set in this. I've used the, what else have I used? I've used the doodled petals in this. I think I've pretty much used everything. Oh, and I've used a couple of the flowers from the butterfly set as well. Okay, so as I said, you can use that template, or you can use that stencil as a cut page template. So you can see what I've done here, if I can kind of just a little bit, you can see what I've done is I've used the outside frame, just the outside frame of it, to cut the first page. So we've got a nice open page, and then we've got all those flower clusters over it. Can you see as well, if I turn it towards the light, can you see that I've got some embossing going on, tone on tone, a little bit of embossing going on using one of the flower stamps. I'm hoping you can see that as I tip. So it gives it a nice bit of texture, and the colour is, so it is squid ink. And normally I very often use black, and I was like, I'm not going to use black this time. I'm not going to use black. I'm going to use something else. And I saw squid ink sitting on my desk, and I absolutely love these colours together. The colours just go fantastic together. So that is my first page. So I've just used the outside of the stencil to do that. And then when we flip it over, you can see my second page. I have got, so this is gold emboss. I'm kind of tipping it so you can kind of see. So I've done a pattern background with the gold embossing. I'm hoping you can see that as I tip it towards the light. And then we've got the second part cut, more of the flowers. I've got a quote on here. The quote is from the Artistic Stamper, and I've also got, so I did this on another sample, but I also gave it a little spinner. because I thought it'd be nice that you can kind of move the colours round. Thought that was just something a little bit different. So I've used it, as I said, I've used it as a cut template to create a double page. I love this page, and I love the colours. They are colours that I would not normally maybe have put together, but the colours work fantastic. So really pleased with that. So I've got two more. I've got two more to show you. I'm going to show you this one. I'm going to show you this one first. So this one, this is a double page. So double page, hopefully you can see that. Double page, I've got, so in the background, we've got, you can see gold embossed flowers from the flower set. These embossed painted flowers are from the heart stencil, the large heart stencil. So the large heart stencil, okay, and then I've added the black and white flowers. So this page came about purely because I already had, so this image was already printed out. I had it printed out in a couple of sizes, and it was sitting on my desk. And one of the things that I used to do years ago is I used to always use black and white images. I used to do bright coloured backgrounds and then use black and white images. This was sitting on my desk already, and this wreath, the coloured wreath that's in the background, was a demo piece that I did from a class from a long time ago. So it's got some older stamps. You can see it's got some older stamps on there. But all of my stamps, as I said, work together. They will always work together. Okay, so all I then did was get the new florals, and I thought, right, I want to use the black and white image. I want to use the floral wreath to go round her, but I need to tie it in. So I thought, right, I need some black and white flowers. So I've literally just stamped and cut some black and white flowers to add to that. And it works so well. And again, I did an alcohol and acrylic background on this one, and then added some stenciling over the top. Okay, so that's that one with the black and white. And then I have one more. So one more to show. This is my last sample. Let me just grab a clip. I just want to clip this. I just want to clip the page back because this book is getting quite chunky. And if I don't clip the page back, I'm going to have a bit of a problem. Let me just clip it just so that I can hold it up. That's better. Just so I can hold it up to you. It's getting quite chunky. This is my last page. So this is the last one. You can see I have the big butterflies, big butterfly, and the flowers from the same stencil in the background. And I've actually used it as a background on this one. So we've got a really large, bold background going on. As I said, I already had this image printed, but I had it in a couple of sizes. So I was like, right, I might as well use that. I need to use it. So what I decided to do with this one was I added a little bit of colour. One of the flowers from the flower set, layered that up. But what I also did with the stencil was I gave her some 3D wings. So I gave her some 3D wings as well, using the stencil. So she's got some nice 3D wings as well that match in. And I decided to go with contrasting colours, so she stands out against that background. This needs some words on it somewhere, but I'll get round to that. So that's my last sample. But that butterfly really does call, you know, it really is an impact. It's an impact piece, I think, especially if you're going to use it in the background. And I think as well that you could do, so we've got, obviously I've got this one and I've done the butterfly, but I think you could do exactly the same thing, the same technique, etc., using the You could use the heart as well. The heart would work really well as well in the background to do a similar type thing. So that's it. See, that wasn't too bad tonight. That's it. So very quickly, I'm just going to go through the stamps and stencils again, just to give you a reminder. Do check in the feed. Do check in the feed to see where your local stockist is. If you can't find anything there, do go on to the blog post, the PaperArtsy blog, because on the release blog post, it will have the links at the bottom of the blog post as well or it has a list. It doesn't have links. It has a list of all of the stores that do stock. Okay, so just once more, TS 104. So 104 is the butterfly. So it is the foliage of floral butterfly. You can use this in lots of different ways. I made it into 4 different size butterflies, so it's not just the one thing. You can do lots of different things with it. You don't just have to stick to the one size. You can stamp, colour, cut, and make it into different sizes. I think I want to do a page actually with this where I do the different size butterflies. I think that would actually be really cool. TS 105, so 105 is the florals with the additional petals and with the additional flower centres, so that you can build these up. Don't forget as well, this one can just be used as a heart. We can turn it to one side. You can just stamp that and use it for a heart. So if you need to do some Valentine's stuff, you can use this. If you've got this set, don't forget I made butterflies out of these as well, using the butterfly centre. If you've got a different one of my different butterfly stamps, you could use the centre of that as well and still make butterflies out of the little petals. So you could do that. TS 106, so 106 is the doodled leaves or mandala shapes or flower petals, pattern play, whatever you want to call them, because they are all of the above. You can literally do everything with these. You know, there is so much versatility with these. I use them, as you saw, I use them on borders. You could cut them in half and use them on borders. You don't have to use the whole thing. You know, there really is a lot of versatility, patterns, etc., etc. I use them in backgrounds. Lots and lots you can do with those. So then stencils again, PS 497. So 497 is the large butterfly with the flower border. Can be used in backgrounds, can be used as focals, etc., etc. PS 498. So 498 is the large floral heart, and again, the floral border can be used separately. This could be used the same way as the large butterfly in a background to really create an impact background. You could certainly do that. You could use it as a template like I did and just colour it in, or you can just use it in your backgrounds. Just use part of it. You don't even have to use the whole thing. Just use part of it. And then the last one, PS 499. 499 is the stained glass. I'm looking forward, actually. I want to do one of these coloured in as well. And maybe with a coloured black background, and then over the top with the stencil. So, but I will get round to that. We'll play a little bit more, as I'm sure you will as well. I love seeing what everybody comes up with. So that's the last one, PS 499. So thank you so much. I'm so glad that so many of you have stuck with me for the whole video. I know some of you wanted to shoot off for that program, especially in the UK, and I know that because my kids are obsessed by it as well. So thank you for sticking with me today. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you didn't see Seth's, or you didn't see Lynn Perella's releases on Monday and Tuesday of this week, they will be in the PaperArtsy People group. There will be a replay of that. You'll be able to watch those if you haven't seen them already. As I said, thank you so much for sticking with me tonight. Thank you for joining me. I hope that you've enjoyed the samples that I've provided tonight. And I can't wait to see what you come up with. I can't wait to see, what you do with them. So I will speak to you very, very soon. Thank you once again. Happy New Year to you all. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for supporting me. And I will see you very, very soon. Bye-bye.